you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O's, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O's, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
S-I-C-K,
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. CF Montreal Talk.
Here's the chance. They've got the goal. Absolutely incredible. Cameron Porter delivers is the goal to send Montreal Impact into the CONCACAF Champions League semi-final.
The sickest CF Montreal podcast. Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. Playground. Your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro, the Sick Podcast, and welcome, everyone, as we are here on this Monday. And CF Montreal were in Dallas on the weekend, and boy, oh boy, what a huge win for them. How many of you would have bet that CF Montreal would have gone into Dallas and they would have beat FC Dallas the way they did on the weekend? And they did. And they won by a score of 2-1. And you know what? They didn't steal it. They didn't rob it. They didn't steal it. They went toe-to-toe with Dallas, and it could have gone either way, but CF Montreal, worthy winners, I think. They played the kind of football we wanted them to play, and the execution, which wasn't there 1 week ago in a 0-0 tie at Orlando City, was there on the weekend. A couple of chances and a couple of goals from two guys that you want to see score goals for this team. What a great start for them thus far, picking up a point at Orlando about 9 days ago to start off their season. And once again, a big 3 points on the weekend. So their first two games of the season on the road, we know that they usually start their season with about 6 or 7 on the road pretty much every year. And that ends up being the difference sometimes when they don't make the playoffs. They're off to a great start right now with 4 out of a possible 6 points. Nilton Jorge of Couscous Piri Piri will join me in just a second. Not before I talk to you about Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different. All right, without further ado, let's bring in Nilton. Nilton, good afternoon.
Hey Tony, comment ça va?
Ça va très bien, toi?
J'ai pensé à toi en fin de semaine là, quand j'ai vu Vilsaint. Il disait oh boy, Tony doit être content là.
Yeah. I was pretty happy. Est-ce qu'on va faire ça en français aujourd'hui parce que j'ai pas d'objection là? I don't mind là.
Allez, wesh. On peut switch.
On peut le faire bilingue. We can go back and forth, whichever way you want.
C'est comme tu veux,
Seeing
Tony.
Seeing as most of your listeners, viewers, and followers already get you in French on Couscous Piri Piri, we're going to do some in French, but I think most of them with you are going to be in English. I think Ali Gerba and Patrice Bernier will probably join me in a couple of days as we change up the days. And you know what? We'll do some in French with them. So let's, without further ado, you talked about Jules-Anthony Vilsaint. We'll get to him because you know that I'm salivating to talk about him. But why don't we do this? Let's get to the starting lineup. Let's bring up FC Dallas's lineup first if we can. All right, there you have it. Place in goal, Tafari with Gonzalez and Junca, a 3-man back line like CF Montreal. They're in a 3-4-3 formation, unlike Montreal, who's in a 3-4-2-1 formation, but it's very similar the way they play. Ilara Mendy with Fraser right in front of the back line. Kamungo at right wing back. Sealy at left wing back. Musa is their striker. He's got Farrington on his right and the captain Ariola on his left. On to CF Montreal. Once again, Nilton Jorge. It was 1 week ago that CF Montreal had a 3-4-2-1, and the two players that were playing as quote-unquote 10s behind Kokaro, who's playing as a 9, were Duke and Yankov. But Yankov injured, so he couldn't go, and Laurent Courtois decides to go with Komala Opoku. So once again, the starting 11. Sirois in goal, a 3-man back line of Waterman with Campbell on his right and Corbo on his left. Once again, Sosa is injured. In front of them, Chouanière and Piet with Rouen at right back, Lassiter at left back. Once again, Duke and Opoku in behind Kokaro. So that's the way they line up. On the bench, Breza, Alvarez, Wanyama, Zuir, Jabang, Joseph Martinez, Ibrahim, Raheem Edwards, and Jules-Anthony Vilsaint, who's there as a sub because, once again, a week ago, he was not there as a sub. Should also point out that Lapalainen is still out with an injury. Thorkelson is still out with an injury. And Saliba is still out with an injury. Okay, so speaking of injuries, 8 minutes into the game, Opoku goes down, and you can tell he's laboring.
Yeah. Yeah, it
What did you
was
make-
done.
What did you make of the injury?
I was wondering if it was maybe a case of VAR for a penalty because it was a late tackle, something dangerous as a contact, but it changed. It didn't change quite the match because the philosophy of the team did not depend on the players on the field. It depend of the roles of each of them. I was wondering if Opoku was more as a forward behind Duke, but it was clearly two midfields, two forwards behind the striker Kokaro, and when Vilsaint took that place, it didn't change the philosophy of the game, and it was pretty clear that those two midfields, Duke on the left and Opoku after Vilsaint on the right, was there as a backup from Kokaro, but they are also a role of a midfielder when they don't have the ball because Montreal plays on the on the graphic we see it's a clear 3-4-3, but without the ball, it's a clear 5-4-1 with those two midfields dropping back on the wings to protect the back line.
You're right about that because when they don't have the ball, they expect the wing backs to end up being fullbacks. So, for example, when they don't have the ball, Lassiter has to turn into a left back and Rouen has to turn into a right back. Now, I hate to say I told you so, but I love to say I told you so, okay?
You don't hate that much.
I know I don't hate it. I say it only because it's a saying, but I really love to remind people when I'm right because I get often reminded when I'm wrong, okay? How many times have I said since they acquired him from Royal Antwerp where he was playing with the U23s, Jules-Anthony Vilsaint, that Jules-Anthony Vilsaint can play 9, Jules-Anthony Vilsaint can play 10, Jules-Anthony Vilsaint can play 7, Jules-Anthony Vilsaint can play 11, Jules-Anthony Vilsaint can play 8, and Jules-Anthony Vilsaint can play 6. I've said it a million times, right? Because I've seen him play that position a lot. You're going to tell me that amateur soccer and pro soccer is different? It's the MLS, okay? It's not Serie A, it's not La Liga, and it's not the Premier League. With all due respect to MLS, okay? So, I've always wanted to see Jules-Anthony Vilsaint in the lineup because of this. His versatility. If I'm a coach, I know
He's a complete guy.
that if a player gets hurt, I have a player that I can slot in 5 or 6 different positions, okay? He's that good that he can play all of these positions. How many times, and now here's my real opportunity to say I told you so to everyone. How many times have I said last year when CF Montreal had Duke as a 10, they had Miljevic as a 10, they had Rea who can play winger or as a 10, all right? And they had the Egyptian sensation that hardly played, and I'm forgetting his name right now, okay?
Ahmed Hamdi.
Ahmed Hamdi as a 10. How many times did I say Vilsaint's better than all of them as a 10? Okay? So now, 1 week ago, when I hosted the podcast with Ali Gerba and Patrice Bernier, I told them, I said, guys, with all due respect to Duke, who I think has talent,
Offensive
Duke
talent.
is not a 10 like Vilsaint. He's not a 10 like Vilsaint. Vilsaint is faster. Vilsaint has a better shot from distance. Vilsaint covers more ground. Vilsaint's vision and passing ability for me is great. And for those who don't see it, I say it must be either you're blind or it's highly underrated for you. Or for me, it's highly underrated because people don't see it. I don't get it. Okay. So now I credit Laurent Courtois. I give him a lot of credit. And I say, Laurent, thank you for seeing the light. Thank you for trusting this player. Now, you know, he didn't start him. I get it. but he recognized that when Opoku went down, who do I have on my bench
That
I
was
can put on,
interesting. That was
still
interesting.
stay dangerous, and be in the 3-4-2-1? And he realized it's only Vilsaint. It's only him. Okay.
But you were surprised you were surprised it wasn't Sunusi was there, because on the first game when he was
Sunusi's not a 10. He's not a 10.
I know, but on the depth chart after the first game, we thought that Vilsaint was last on the depth chart. And when he went down, he went straight up to Vilsaint. And what is interesting about what you're saying about Vilsaint capable of doing those roles, and it's not because he's gonna put him as a 6 or 8. It doesn't matter. It's the capacity of Vilsaint on situations on the game to play as a 8 or as a 6 on the goal. He finished the game. He finished the ball on the net. But the first thing that he makes a midfield role, because he's there. He drops deep to receive the pass from, I think, Waterman, and he got the flair to follow the play, to came late on the penalty box. He got that flair, that anticipation, and what is interesting, it's the way that he strikes. Because about 2 weeks ago, I was talking with Zachary Brogriard, and he told me that all the guys were telling to Vilsaint to be more a finisher, more a deadly striker, not just place the ball on this. If you have a chance to knock out the goaler, go ahead. Don't be afraid. You're in a top league. When you strike to kill. And
so I'm going to tell you this. When he ran back, received the ball, turned, he didn't look like Kone.
Think about it. He got that way of move the ball. He's slick with the ball. I understand.
Okay.
I understand.
His pass. Okay, so I want people to think about this for a second. And by the way, this team doesn't really play with wingers. They play with wing backs, so he wouldn't be a fit on there, okay? When you said, Tony, were you surprised? The only thing that I thought could have happened is I thought that he could have used Chouanier as a 10 with Duke and brought in Wanyama.
Yeah, but that's another topic. Chouanier at the midfield, that's another big topic, maybe for later.
Correct. But, that's one of the things that I thought could have been his option. But I was at home watching it, okay?
Ready.
And the second that Opoku went down, you never want to see anyone get hurt. No. But the second he went down, I'm like, okay, Vilsaint, let's go. Vilsaint, this is it. This is a time where we're going to see him as a 10 playing behind the striker. This is your time, okay? And by the way,
it's like Sirois last year. It's like Sirois last year.
Losada dismissed when I talked about Vilsaint as a 10, so he was asked about it in his press conferences on a couple of occasions. You remember how fast Losada dismissed the option of Vilsaint as a 10? Members of the media wouldn't even stop to ask. They wouldn't even finish asking their question. He was already, no. 9. What a total disrespect for the player's talent, his versatility, and what close-mindedness.
But maybe not to protect the guy, because he don't need protection, but maybe as a Latin American guy, a number 10, it's not the same definition that a 10 like in Europe. A 10 in Latin America, it's more, it's old school. He's not a old school 10. He's more as a second forward 10.
I understand. Right? Yeah, and I could, yeah. Listen, we haven't even talked about the false 9 option. I mean, as a false 9, where he's not really drawing that much attention and there's more space for him, he's lethal as well. And I'm telling you, I'm hoping that this kid's not going to come out of the lineup. And I'm going to tell you something.
He stays healthy.
I'm going to tell you something, okay? I'm going to tell you something. The amount of stuff, as much as people were upset that I was tooting his own horn, okay? I didn't do it because we're best friends and because he's at my house at Christmas, which he's not, okay? I did it because I've seen him so much. Listen, I would put my name on the line for this kid. I would put my life on the line to support this kid than to say to anyone, give him the playing time. And the things I've heard, as much as people were sick and hearing of me because some people didn't trust my opinion, right? I know my opinion's good. I don't need any. I don't care what people say. You know the stuff that I heard in the. How many members of the media did you hear say that he should go to the CPL to do what? The CPL to do what? Nilton. Nilton. If he plays, he's going to be the first one sold. If he plays, he's going to score goals. And if he plays, he's going to sell millions. And he has the potential. He has the potential with playing time and in the right to sell more than Kone sold.
Yeah, right. But the main thing is if he plays. When we saw at the beginning of the season the depth chart, it was, oh man, it's going to be so hard for Vilsaint to get those minutes. Last year, people were talking about CPL because except from you, we didn't see any of Vilsaint play. So it was logic to put that guy on a team to have some time and maybe get a call up 2-3 months after those loans option exist. So it was logic to think about that option on CPL. But now he must have the capacity to be healthy enough to put those numbers on the field, because last year it was the same thing. We saw some flashes of Vilsaint, but he got hurt. Now that physique must have the capacity to have those minutes week after week, because if you want to sell a guy who scores goals, he needs to have the capacity of those minutes, and that's still a question mark for him. And by the way, now that you're right for a Vilsaint, you need to prove again and get one more name. Maybe it was just a lucky name. We need to know who's next.
I you know what? I will definitely tell you. Now look, I watched a lot more amateur soccer when my kids were here and they were playing than I do now. Okay, but I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. I've seen a lot of great players in the province of Quebec. A lot of very good players. Actually, a lot of very good players. A couple of great players. Balou, Vilsaint, and Kone were in a category on their own. I've said that before, and I've also said that based on what I saw, for me, and this is a big debate, okay? But for me, Vilsaint was, if we had to choose, for me, he was the top one. And the reason why I said that was, look, there were a lot of doubts on Balou's age, okay? There were a lot of doubts on Balou's age growing up, okay? There weren't too many people who thought that he was his age, okay? Jules-Anthony Vilsaint was born in Canada, okay? He's his age, okay? But also, once again, the amount of positions that he played and the fact that he, they all played surclass at one point, but Jules-Anthony Vilsaint was a 2003 who, when he played 2002, was better than any 2002. So, look, I'm glad he got the opportunity. You said it would be tough for him to get into the lineup. I understand that there's, I understand that there's a lot of bodies. Martinez, who's a good player, and we want to see him play. Coccaro, who we saw, he's got his utility to the team. Wow. This guy is a great team player. The goal where Vilsaint goes back, he receives, he turns, a pass in between a couple of players and in behind them for Ruan, who crosses the ball, and then Coccaro, who just touches it down and lays it down right in front of Vilsaint. And then, like you talked about it, Vilsaint comes in and boom. And by the way, and you mentioned it, this is something a lot of people don't talk about. Some have said, and I've heard this, Vilsaint is lazy. And I've said it's so easy for him that he looks nonchalant, but he's not. Did you see where he was, where he received that ball? And when he ran, the way others around him on the other team stopped and didn't run with him, for him to be completely alone in the box 60 yards after.
And that's the anticipation that he got. But talking about like a guy like Coccaro, it's the same. It's the same that you explain with Vilsaint. It's that capacity of playing a different position depending on the phase of the play. How many times is the third or the fourth midfielder? How many times he's on the box defending a ball? On corners, he's the first to get the ball. That's the big difference. When Piet told us last year against Atlanta that he had the impression that he was playing with a body list. Now, in every phase, those players are not alone. They're a lot on the box. When Vilsaint scores, Choinière is there. There's Lassiter's coming there on the midfield. It's not only a job for Piet and Choinière. Coccaro is there supporting them, gaining falls. All that little plays that maybe looks a little bit not so important is important for the phase of the game because you keep the ball, because you created chances. Before he got hurt, Coccaro, he created maybe 5 or 6 scoring chances. So that guy, even if he didn't score yet, and hope that the injury is not too serious, he's so important in building something on the field, and not get those faces always stopping with a loose ball. So that guy brings so much, and the day he will connect with the field, it will be a different, so different player for the team.
I like this guy a lot, but once again, I told you this before to everyone. I don't expect him to score a lot of goals. He's not that player. He doesn't have the finishing ability that you would like to see in some number 9s. But what he is, I'm going to tell you what he is. He's a workhorse. He's a tremendous team player. Watch this guy. I think he was happier for Vilsaint scoring the goal than Vilsaint was happier for himself. Okay,
he's a team player, yeah.
He's an unselfish forward, which is very, very hard to find because forwards usually are very selfish, but those are the ones who end up scoring more goals. You kind of have to be selfish to score those goals, okay? But this guy's great for a team. He's great for the spirit. He's great on the field. He's great off the field. He's great for a locker room. Like you said, he comes back. He defends corners. He'll run till tomorrow. He'll give everything for his team. And he's very appreciated from his teammates. I can tell that right away. And very appreciative of being a member of CF Montreal. So I like him a lot. You know what else I liked?
Go ahead.
I liked the Spanish call of the goal. Did you hear it in Spanish?
No. I went with the French version.
Listen to the Spanish one.
Excelente con Vilsaint, pica por afuera Ruan, qué linda pelota, por allá va el brasileño, el ex DC United, Ruan manda el centro de primera, le queda Coccaro, la bajó el zorro, le pegó Vilsaint, toma papá, un golazo, gol de Montreal, Jules-Anthony Vilsaint.
Hey, now there's a call, huh? There's a call.
I miss those. Wow. That's a play-by-play. Wow.
All right. You know when you told me, Tony, can you name me the next one? Okay. Well, I'm going to talk to you about one that got away. And I'll talk to you about this. Look at the pictures of the brothers. All right. Okay. You see the one on the right? You know who that is?
Yep. That's a brother, right?
I know you do. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that is Jules-Anthony Vilsaint's younger brother, Jalen Vilsaint. All right. By the way,
he played with the under 20 under 19 last year, right? With Montreal B squad.
Yes, he did. And you know where he's playing now? He's playing U19 with Torriense in Portugal. He's playing in the first division of U19. He's been called up to play with the U23s of Torriense, which is their reserve team to their pro team, who I believe is in second division. And about a week or a week and a half ago, he was playing for Haiti, as you see him there. He was playing for Haiti. at the CONCACAF U20, of which his team was victorious in every game. And he scored a goal as a center back off a header, and there's the celebration. Do you notice the brothers, what they're doing? Do you notice what they're doing? What are they doing?
Whose celebration is it?
Okay. No, I'll tell you what it is. Shh to the haters. Shh to the doubters. And you know what? I can't hear you because I'm blocking it out and because mind over matter. There have been doubters. These kids were the best players of their age group for a very, very long time in Quebec soccer. But yet, there was always a hater and always a doubter because they have their certain swag, which I love because it's what makes them special. And because jealousy, everyone's always looking for something. You'll see when they go to 11 aside, they won't be that good. Yeah, but this like this, that like this, like this, that like that. And Jalen had an adjustment period because I think in a span of 2 years, I think Jalen went from 5'10" to 6'6".
Lucky him.
So his coordination was off. And by the way, he ended up switching from a number 10 to eventually now a number 5. He's a center back now. So there was he had to grow with his body that grew so fast. And obviously, get his coordination. And so, anyway, we talked about Jules-Anthony Vilsaint, but I think it was time that we talked about Jalen Vilsaint as well. So keep your eye on him because I'm telling you, that kid's going places too. All right, okay. Stoppage time in the first half. There's a ball that's lobbed into Kamungo, who heads it to Musa. Kamungo gets in behind. The ball goes over Corbeau. I think he gets in behind Lassiter, can't get there on time. As we talked about, the left wing back has to come back all the way. And Waterman slides to try and intercept the header, but it gets by, goes right onto Musa. He scores. It's called offside. They go to VAR, and the goal is allowed. What did you think of the call?
I'm not against the call. It's maybe usually it's those kind of calls is a goal. So it wasn't dramatic call at all, and it was maybe the first time in the first half that the Dallas got something out of Musa. So the first half was all over Montreal, and that last chance on the first half to stop on the goal, I was afraid of the reaction of the club will have for those after that call. If Dallas will change dramatically the way of playing, if Montreal will have to react after that call. But it wasn't a bad call in my opinion. Do you have something else to say about this?
No. I thought it was 50-50 when I saw it right away. And usually 50-50, you get the benefit of the doubt anyway when you're playing at home. All right,
but
okay.
But you have to know that with those refs, the ref who are now lockout, when you get a call from VAR to check, it was obvious that the call was from the VAR judge to say, hey, your judge line just missed that call and to correct that. So it was obvious when I saw it was a VAR call that it would be overturned.
They get to the second half, and this is what I will say, okay? If you take a look at the 48th minute, there was a couple of passes just outside the box, and they drop a ball back to Junga. And it's Vilsaint that has to go there, and he has to try and intercept that pass or at least get in front of the player. And he probably gave a little bit too much space. And Junga takes a rifle, which Jonathan Sirois goes diving and gets a hand save. So, Vilsaint's going to have to work on his play without the ball in defense. And he's going to have to work on that a little bit. At the same time, I kind of get it, even though I said he's played all different positions. I think if he would play 6 or 8, he would know what his primary role is. But when he's playing more advanced position, whether it's a forward, second forward, false 9, or a 10, I think his instincts are he's thinking offense first. But that's a huge stop by Sirois, who once again I think was unbelievable. We'll get to his next big save in a second, but not before we talk about Juan, who puts a ball right by Gonzalez with Martinez running in behind them. As soon as Martinez sees the goalkeeper coming out, that's when you're supposed to kick a ball. When a goalie is in movement and he's running, the second you see him running, you should be kicking because already he's moving and it's hard to move and save at the same time. He puts it behind them, scores a goal. That's what they're paying him the big money for. And by the way, I loved what he said after the game. He said, I missed a chance I should have scored in game 1. And it was really bothering me. And I was mad at myself. And he got his goal. That's a huge goal. Puts them up to 1.
Yeah. But we saw aging defenseman. Gonzalez was so soft when he let Martinez pass just through him. No reaction, nothing.
Yeah.
He was maybe blindsided by the run of Martinez, but it was a pretty bad play from Gonzalez. And he's he's an old school striker. Huh? He doesn't do much except finding those spaces, making those runs, keeping that energy and freshness to finish the options of goals. He's old school on that type, but he creates a lot of things with those runs. And there's a second occasion that Ruan had the opportunity to shoot. He was way alone in front of the goal, but he saw Martinez doing that blind sign second post run. Yeah, he will be. He's not fit yet. We saw it. Maybe he need more. Maybe a month of.
You saw it in the team picture after the game.
Those muffin tops, huh?
Listen, he's built wide. He's thick.
Yeah. Des gros os, like we said in French.
Yes, but I think it's safe to say that if he could drop 5 to 6 pounds, maybe 7, that when you come back from those knee injuries on a couple of occasions, it's a little bit harder. When you've accomplished so much in the league the way he has, sometimes, you don't work as hard. But at the same time, you were right when you said he's an old school forward. Okay, this guy, he's not going to do much running. No. When he's going to do the running is if you're giving him a ball. He wants the ball in space and he wants the ball in the box. That's
those
it.
Last yards, he will run those last yards. But except of that, he's not the same guy, but as a profile, he's more like a Divayo type of forward. He's old school. What it will be interesting to see if Laurent Courtois will be able to play those two, Coccaro and Martinez together. What kind of role that Coccaro can play with Martinez?
It's very easy to answer that question. It's very easy.
With 110?
Yeah, correct. If he plays them together, he plays with 110. But you know what Coccaro will end up being? He'll probably end up being kind of like a hybrid.
Yeah,
right. Playing between the 10 and the striker. That's the way I see it going. I see it going.
It will happen eventually, but those problems are so good problems and new problems for Montreal. We used to try to find solution. Now we have maybe too much of solutions, and that's not a problem for Montreal right now.
By the way, only 2 games in. But Ruan an upgrade on Herrera.
But I don't know. We don't saw a lot of.
Nilton, he's good.
I'm not telling that Juan is no good. He's a real wing back. That new format of wing back. Herrera, we didn't saw a lot of Herrera, and we saw Herrera giving balls to Ofar. If Juan give that ball to Ofar this weekend, it wasn't a goal too. So it's difficult to compare those two players because they're not playing with the same strikers. But yeah, Ruan, it's fantastic. He created chances. He carries a lot of balls on the last on the opposite side. I love those carries ball from Juan. He has that capacity to go up and down. It will be interesting to see when those connections will be there, and when Juan will have that confidence sometimes not to pass and to finish the action. It could be a weapon, a big weapon for Montreal on the right side.
Besides the goal that FC Dallas scored, of course, and player got in behind Lassiter there, I thought Lassiter played a pretty good game with the ball when they had the ball. There's one play where they go take a free kick and he comes in and he takes it from the right side with his left foot. Keeper makes a pretty good save. There's another shot, I think, which is early on into the second half. So he's using his shot and he's trying to provoke. But before, I brought up Choinier's name when I said I really wanted Vilsaint to come in when Opoku went down with the injury, but the thing I thought about was, will Courtois go to Choinière as a 10 and bring in Wanyama? And you said, well, Choinière in the midfield, that's another story for later. Well, it's later. What's your story with Choinière in the midfield?
He does so much of job with the ball. Though he's a perfect 8 on MLS because he's there with Piet. Piet essentially is there to gain gagner ballon, gain the ball, and then Choinière has that capacity to go up and down. He was there just beside Coccaro for the Vilsaint goal. He's there on the other side to take those balls away from the team. He's capable of to compensate with the Lassiter runs when he goes up. It will be hard for Saliba to go back on that starting 11 if we stay with that 2-man midfield. Choinière was very useful last year doing so many type of jobs, but Choinière on the midfield in MLS, it's the way for his future. If he wants to have something interesting in the next years for Canada team, if he wants to have a bigger salary eventually, gain that salary that maybe not a 10-player contract, but near a 10-player contract, it will be as a midfield. So Choinière, if he won't score those goals that he scored last year. He went up to 5 goals, I think. But all the job he's doing on midfield, it's the big difference between a team it's capable of doing something interesting on the road that the team was struggling last year on the road.
So I think that this is the most interesting topic surrounding this team is actually the 6s and the 8s, because there's a surplus of players in that role. There's Piet, there's Wanyama, there's Saliba, there's Zouir, there's Choinière. Eventually, they're going to want to get Alessandro Biello at one point in this organization with the team. I think we all agree that if he doesn't sign this year, he's going to sign next year, but they don't want to let him walk to another team, and he will find another team, okay? Scavoni has played this position before, but in Italy, he played more of a right wing back, and that could be possible, but there's a little bit of congestion there as well. So we'll see. But let's just say they say, you know what? In the next year, by next year, we want to get Biello and Scavoni integrated into the team. Okay. Wanyama is going to retire after this year, probably, or he's not going to be back. He won't be back with CF Montreal, okay, after this year. Okay?
It would be surprising. You're right.
So there's one. But who's going to be, once Zouir has to play too at one point. Like, Zouir has to play. Like, what are they going to do? They're going to send them off to USL again?
But eventually, Piet, how old is he? He's 28, 29?
So, yes, but Piet has another year after this year, correct? He has another year after this year.
I'm not sure about his status, contract status.
I think it was a 3-year extension. Last year, this year, next year. You're the guy with the numbers and all the stars, the stats, and you make about 18 charts a day and put them up on your Twitter account. So you'll be able to confirm that before I will.
2026 option 2026. There we go.
Option is 2026. Okay.
Yep.
So look, I think he's going to play out his contract. Okay, for sure. And he's such a favorite in the city.
He's the face.
That once his contract is up,
he won't go anywhere.
Well, he probably won't go anywhere, but it'll be an easier pill to swallow for the fan base if by 2026 the guy replacing him will be a Biello. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Of course.
It's gonna with all right, and so it's an interesting topic because if they want to get Biello and Scavoni or other young players or Zouir playing time or those guys signed eventually, they're gonna have to move Saliba too. You're not gonna move Saliba if you don't play him. Now, look, I think there's things that Saliba can do that Piet cannot do. I think Saliba is a better player, okay? But Piet is extremely valuable because what he does, he insulates the back line. He's a big-time leader. He's their pit bull, okay, in front of the back line. He interrupts a lot of plays. Basically, he's CF Montreal's version of Gattuso. So as great as that AC Milan team was, and they had so many stars on it, there was a role for Gattuso because he did something that others could not do, and he did it really well. That's what Piet brings to this team. But once again, part of me would like to see Saliba play because he's a good player. He's a very good player. But if you're going to push a young kid, and I'm going to say it before, like everyone's been talking about Saliba, the young kid to push is Vilsaint. The young kid to push is him.
But he needs to be patient because the field will do the job. Eventually, those players will get hurt. They will need to manage time. They will get some minutes, and those minutes, Saliba have to do the most of it, as to show to Laurent Courtois what he can bring differently from Piet. He doesn't need to be a Piet. He doesn't need to be a Chouanière. He needs to bring something new. Eventually, he needs to. If it's too easy, it's no good for the player too. So if he's just there because there's nobody else, like I'm thinking of Kroloki some years ago. He was there because there was nothing to compete. And where is Kroloki right now? He's nowhere. So it's okay to have those competition on the field. It's maybe a bad news for Saliba because after 1 year, the organization maybe was thinking, okay, we are gonna sell him in 12 months. But those types of roller coaster profiles and status, it's normal in soccer.
I'll tell you what I would do if I was Saliba, okay? Because as an 8, he's not going to be able to dislodge Chouanière because of Chouanière's versatility on the field. Because of his incredible cardio, stamina, and endurance. This kid can play 3 games in one night. So what I would do is, if, the way they play, even though they play with 2 CDMs, one is more a 6 and one is more an 8. Correct? Piet is more a 6. Chouanière is more an 8. Wanyama's more a 6. Is Saliba more an 8? But if he is, he would probably be wise to work on the aspects of his game that he would need to be better as a 6. Because if he could be harder to play against, better defensively, and break up a lot of plays, maybe
and he has the body, and he has the body of the profile, that modern profile 6 type of players. He could be that. He could learn about that. But eventually, everything can go so fast, and you will never know. You have an offer, a transfer offer for Choignard, and you never know what can happen. And what it's difficult for Olivier Renard, those kind of problems. Usually, it's good problems because you can trade those players. But here in Montreal, trading a Choignard or a Piet, it's not an option. He will get killed by the fans, the media. Those kinds of situations are ideal to make some movement of players in the league.
You're right.
But
You're right.
it's very, very complicated for Ronaldo.
You're right. They've tried to sell their plan to the fan base, who in the previous years either accepted it reluctantly or did not want to accept it. But even though they understand it now and they accept it, that they're going to develop some players and they're going to sell them, those are two players that a lot of members of the fan base do not want to see go. Like, and more important, and even important certain members of the media that up to the point where if those two players would be moved, they would cover the team less than they cover it today, right? They would. Yeah. You know that as well as I do. There's certain members of the media that if those two players got moved, they wouldn't talk about the team at all. Like some of them already talk about it 20% of the time, not even, some 10. They wouldn't talk about them at all if they were moved. All right, okay. What have not we got to here? But first win for Laurent Courtois as a head coach of CF Montreal, of course. The game ball is his. We saw the picture at the end of the game. We saw real nice images, of course, of Joel Waterman going up to him. Congrats on your first win. Corbo says the same thing. The manager has impressed me so far. He's impressed me with what he said. Actions are louder than words, so he's impressed me with the style of play. He's impressed me with the work that has been done in a short amount of time. He's impressed me with the way the team is playing, considering that there's so many new players on the team. And he's impressed me with the results. They got 4 out of 6 points on the road. These are Orlando. Orlando got smoked on the weekend.
Oh, boy.
But I mean, there's not too many people that thought they were going to go to Orlando and pick up a point.
That's why,
not too many people thought they were going to pick up 3 in Dallas.
And that's why sometimes having that part of calendar heavy on the road to start, it's not such a bad thing because you have less pressure. If you get results, it's even better than getting results at start at home. That's so it goes both ways. And not to be against Laurent Courtois, but it's so much easier for him now following Losada than Losada was then following Nancy. Now the players the players are ready to accept about anything. Even Wanyama was smiling, even if he didn't play the first game. So right now, good for him. Laurent Courtois has the perfect situation to begin his chapter in MLS, and he's beginning with points. So eventually, everything he's gonna say now adds the confirmation of the field, and it'll be very. But still, those games are so much interesting. That 2 games is so much interesting compared to the last year.
Said this before, gonna say it again. I love Sirois. I've seen this young man train a lot when he was with the academy. Reps after rep after rep. He's diving, taking shots off the face, taking shots off the head, getting up, mud in his face, dirt in his face, getting up and ripping his pants on the turf and scrapes here and there. Such a hard work. This kid's got to go into Team Canada. He's got to go to Team Canada.
I think that Sinclair, maybe he will have another freebie. I think that maybe Biello should just put Crépeau number 1 and go with those kids as 2 and 3. And eventually, I don't know if is it possible, if he has some market outside of America. Eventually, Sirois must have a shot somewhere in Europe, right?
He's going to get sold. Yeah,
you think
so?
You know,
and look, he's not the tallest keeper at a time in 2024 that a lot of clubs, if you're not 6'3" minimum, they hardly look at you.
And
there's always a spot. There's always a spot in football for a tremendous shot stopper.
Yeah, right.
He's a tremendous shot stopper. He's extremely vocal. He owns the box. He owns the box. He's going to come down with that ball. He's got some area of his game that he has to work on, but he's a tremendous shot stopper. He's a real leader on this team. This kid's captain material. Like I think so. I like him a lot. A lot. And for me, I think it's a no-brainer, Canada, by the way. No-brainer. Who's he going to compete with? Crépeau and Sinclair? Okay.
Crépeau, yeah. Sinclair, he's got those last 6 months wasn't so hot as
he's a better keeper. He's a better keeper than him right now. So there was a better keeper right now.
A no-brainer.
So,
maybe.
So who else? Who else is there? Who else is there?
The fourth keeper was a guy from Brenton, Miguel, I think so.
You know.
Yeah.
This you know.
And you know what?
I'd love to see this. I love to see this kid.
And you know what, Sirois?
I'd love to see him with Canada's World Cup team in 2026
And you know what? Sirois told us on the podcast that he can have a French passport, so it's even easier.
Don't forget, his agent had a player in the CPL who's now playing in Spain, I think in second division, if memory serves me well. You know what I'm talking about? His agent is Serge Paul.
Oh, okay, yeah.
SC Management, Serge Paul Management.
Yeah, right.
And his agent represented Abzi, who was playing at York. And then where did he's in Spain now, but he got transferred to France second division before making the jump to Spain second division.
Yeah, right.
So his agent obviously has got a connection in France, and he's telling you that he's got a French passport. I think that's going to be his next step. I don't know when it's going to be, but if I were a betting man, I would bet Jonathan Sirois in France at some point here over the next couple of years. I wonder if it's going to happen before the World Cup or after the World Cup. But the World Cup's approaching. It's in 2026.
Could be fast. He deserves it. He needs to have a second big year. Maybe only a half a year will be enough for that summer transfer period. But he deserves it. Maybe the new version of goalers needs to have that capacity to play with his feet. That's what doesn't have. But as you say, if you stop the ball, you always get a place somewhere to find.
Yeah, and once again, I think the team is Pau.
Exactly.
I think somebody brought it up here, but it is Pau. And it was, let me just take a look here at Transfer Market if I can. It was to Leganés in the second tier. And the loan ended on, the loan will end in June of 2024. On June 30th.
Yeah, could be that kind of.
But he might be back. He might be back with Pau. Anyway, I think he might be back with Pau because, as per Transfer Market, he's going from Leganés back to Pau. But anyway, I'm not so sure if he's with Leganés right now, or I'm not so sure if he's back to Pau. But clearly there's some kind of contact there, and once again, I think that Jonathan Sirois is going to end up in France one day. That's what I see.
Hope for him.
All right, listen, Messi's next, but there's a lot that the Messi's next on Sunday night at 6:00 in Fort Lauderdale, but I don't think he's going to play that much.
After that midweek game, I was surprised that he played the 90 minutes. Tata Martino was asked after the game why he didn't pull out Messi on the 5-0 game. He told that he asked Messi, and Messi was feeling great. I guess that maybe it's a case to pull him out before he got hurt. But Tata Martino has that reputation of not really liking to rotate the team. It will be a problem eventually with those veterans. Now he's playing what is it, Tuesday or Wednesday? I'm not sure.
He's playing on if memory serves me well, hold on. I think he's playing Thursday. He's playing Thursday. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
He's playing Thursday at Nashville in the CONCACAF Champions Cup round of 16. Okay. So he's playing Thursday at Nashville. Then he's playing Sunday versus CF Montreal. And then he's playing the second round of the CONCACAF on Wednesday. So he's going to be playing 3 games in 6 days.
Yeah. Not
and
sure
2
about
of them
that.
are CONCACAF champions. Now, maybe he won't play much in Nashville, play the first half and come out. See if I'm a betting man, this is what I think. I think he's going to play the first half in Nashville. I think he's going to play the first half versus Montreal. And I think he's going to play the entire game in the second leg. And then, by the way, once that second leg is over, 3 days later, they play at DC United in an afternoon game.
That's the kind of problem that big clubs have when you get those big weeks
Cup
with
games.
Cup games.
Yeah.
Go and we seeing that Miami trying to make some roster moves. He traded the Edlin to Cincinnati. I think they will need to find some bodies, because eventually, when those players are in top shape, in great shape, and game shape, like that last weekend, it's going to be hard to stop Miami. It's going to be pretty hard.
You know who's in a good shape on that team? The young kids and some of the homegrowns. They're not making a lot of money. They're domestic. They need them under the cap. They're not going to go anywhere. Those are not the players that are going to move to make room for other players. So once again, 4 games for Inter Miami in 8.5 days, because the 4th one is at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. 4 games.
And the more important,
8.5 days.
It's not only the points. It's keep those players in shape. Keep healthy. It's going to be a big gamble for Tata Martino. But hey, it's not our problem. Imagine if Montreal gets some result in Miami. The club will get even more confident with everything. The fans will be happier.
Yeah.
The media maybe will take maybe 2 minutes on the week to talk about it. It will be fantastic. Imagine.
And don't forget, in ending all of this, with the Argentine Federation probably calling them all the time after they saw him go on a preseason tour of Le Tour du Monde, and now we're looking at the schedule and saying, hey, these people in North America, they're crazy. They want to play 4 games in 8.5 days. Copa America 2024 in the 3rd week of June. And he's going to have to go earlier. He's going to have to go to camp. He's going to have to. So I don't know. Look, he's probably going to decide how much he's going to play, but I wouldn't be surprised if versus Montreal, they put him in the first half. They hope for a lead, and then he comes out.
Or maybe finishing the game. Maybe it will be the other way around. Maybe playing 60 minutes without Messi, and if the game is tied or close, bring up Messi for a free kick or not. But it will be that way for Miami for all the season. So if you buy those tickets, be sure to check the calendar a couple of days before the match.
Don't make too many plans this week, okay? Because I might end up calling you again because you're that good, okay? He is Nilton Jorge. Check out his podcast. It's very good. Watch it less than you watch mine, but watch it. It's Couscous Piri Piri with Safyan Benzaza, who on a couple of occasions has said they should send Jules-Anthony Vilsaint to the CPL. Hey, Safyan, I would send you to the CPL. Bye, Safyan. Bye, Safyan. Safyan. He's moving to a big club in Europe. And you know what? We're going to go watch him play, and I'll take you with me. You can wear
Call
your
him.
CPL shirt. Okay.
I don't want that fight. Call him. Thanks, Tony.
All right, take care of yourself.
nice
He's Nilton Jorge of Couscous Piri Piri. I'm Marinaro. We had a lot of fun today, as I always do with Nilton, and I always do on the Sick Podcast, CF Montreal Talk. Check us out. We have an Instagram account called SickPod CFMTL. We have a Twitter account called SickPod CFMTL. And of course, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's absolutely free at the Sick Podcast, CF Montreal Talk. And you can click on Notify Me, which means every time we go live, you get notified that we're going live. This way you can watch right away. If all goes well, we'll be back in a couple of days. That's if all goes well, to bring you another edition. CF Montreal, an off day today. They will be training at Marie-Victorin tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Friday, they fly out to Fort Lauderdale, where they'll train on Saturday and visit Lionel Messi and Inter Miami on Sunday. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. And once again, tell all your friends about it. And don't forget, I'm Marinaro.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast, CF Montreal Talk on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.